Welcome back to Box Delights, and welcome to our presentation for Hoplomachus, Rise of Rome. This one was funded by a Kickstarter, and this is going to be our first look at the game. It is a standalone and expansion. You can combine it with the first Hoplomachus offering, the Lost Cities. What I'd like to do though is show you the main differences, because I did a series on the Lost Cities already and showed you how the game plays. This is all the components from Lost Cities. What I want to do is point out the main differences with Rise of Rome. I've also got a whole bunch of expansions in here. There was extra stuff that came with the game, and I managed to get everything via their Kickstarter. And these little expansions came in these little mini packs. So we have the Blade's Edge, Legends of the Sand, the Training Grounds, some theme chips playing homage, some stretch goals that came as part of this Kickstarter, some theme dice as well, and Beast and Beastmaster. I'm just going to show you quickly. The dice was just one set of extra dice. You've got two yellows, a black, a blue, a green. Green is introduced by Rise of Rome, and 1d6. Paying homage was a set of seven chips that were crowd favourite gladiators, dedicated to those reviewers who had helped with the first Lost Cities Kickstarter. The stretch goals, these were these. So we had some crates. These are used for equipment. I could show you how these work. There's a couple of tribute chips and some more stretch goals, some crowd favour gladiators, which look fabulous. I'm not going to go into detail on those. I want to concentrate on Rise of Rome as a standalone. But at least if I show you the new stuff, you'll get a clue as to what else is out there. We've got Beast and Beastmaster. This was 2 chips for each of the cities. 2 for the original, Xanadu, El Dorado and Atlantis. And what you have here is a Beastmaster and a Beast that can be under their control. And we got one the same for each of the new cities, which are introduced by Rise of Rome. We've got Rome and Pompeii, and we'll look at that in detail once we get to look at Rise of Rome base set. Legends of the Sand. This one contains 15 new chips, again for each of the cities: Atlantis, Xanadu, Pompeii, El Dorado, Rome. And these are 2 new gladiators, not seen before in any Rise of Rome or Lost Cities, plus a new tactic for each, except for El Dorado, which has 1 new gladiator and 2 new tactics. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of those. Blade's Edge. This contains, again, more chips for each city. This time we have new champions. So at the moment you've got 1 champion. So if you buy Lost Cities, you've got 1 champion for each of those 3 cities, and in Rise of Rome 1 champion for each of the 2 new cities, Pompeii and Rome. What Blade's Edge will do is introduce 1 new champion and 1 piece of equipment to go with that champion. And equipment are items that can exist in crates that you need to break open using your attacks. Pick up those pieces of equipment and you get these special attacks, like units basis attacks are now considered alter attacks, for example. What have we got here? The trophy necklace. This unit now has a trophy innate. So there's different abilities that these new equipments are adding. Finally we have Training Grounds. And this is a good value for money add-on. You get this Training Grounds mat and a bag. So we've got yourself a portable Hoplo game that you can stick in your rucksack and take with you. Fantastic. It is PvP, but with this you'll get a random 2 cities. I happened to get Pompeii and Xanadu, and you get units that you've seen before, so they're not unique, but you also get a bunch of dice to use with them. But the additional thing that you'll get that you'll enjoy is some extra equipment, and I'm sure you can find ways to add that equipment into your basic games. But there you go, that's your portable Training Grounds enhancement, which again is a standalone game. If you want to get a flavour for Hoplo, all you need is the Training Grounds set. Training Grounds also comes with 25 health chips, so you've got everything you need. Rise of Rome comes with 75 health chips, but I've supplemented with a Kickstart add-on, which is these premium health chips, which are nice and thick and look like the Gladiator Tactic, etc. All the other chips. So these ones have got a nicer look and feel to the standard chips, which you saw me using in the Lost Cities playthrough. Finally, we get a look at the new components. We got two cities. We got Pompeii and Rome. We got a whole set of new dice for Rise of Rome, and significantly got these green ones that have been added. Two crowd favour tokens, and there's also a couple of Kickstarter dice here which replace D6, and these ones control the AI of the new Titans that you play during solo and co-op. If you remember in the Lost Cities, we had the beasts, the criminals and the arena bosses. There are some new stuff to play against in solo mode in the Rise of Rome, which is great to see. We can take these guys on in the arena. They don't have any stats on their chips, and I'll show you why. We've got Oceanus, Thea, Menetheus and Cronus. So these are Titans. The other four black chips you see here, these are called shards, and shards behave differently. They've got an active and an inactive side depending on which Titan you're battling against in the arena. So if we look at some of the paperwork which came with the game, we have one summary sheet here, or reference card, which illustrates the four Titans, and it tells you a little bit about the Colosseum. This is the arena that we're going to be battling in, and I'll show you on the playmat in just a moment. And then we have the four Titans, and they have different AI. So these guys are going to behave in lots of different ways. We have summary on the front here, and on the reverse we have a chart that you roll dice and you follow to see what these Titans do, and I'm going to show you a little demonstration of that coming up. So there's one for each of those. We've got reference cards for the two new cities. We've got Rome and Pompeii, and they're two champions. And in addition, they've thrown in an El Dorado, an updated reference sheet for El Dorado from Lost Cities, which has some errata fixed. The other thing they included is an updated Lost Cities rulebook with all the errata amended, so that's great to have. We got the Rise of Rome rulebook 2, which is the same wonderful format. And then we've got two more rule sheets, one for Training Grounds, tells you how to use those new equipments and how to play a training ground battle, and then a single add-on rulebook for Blade's Edge, Beast and Beastmaster, and Legends of the Sand. We've got a little flip heads and tails, saves using a coin. But we also have these new crowd favour gladiators and what's called these footholds. There should be 8 of these. So 2 new crowd favour gladiators. Incidentally, anything that's base set will look like this, and the Kickstarter stuff. So these crowd favour Kickstarters, they have a little KS in the artwork there. But these are double-sided, and you can use these as stationed archers or stationed spearmen, or as footholds. Footholds are things which kind of block the movement of the Titan. Okay, so as you're playing around the arena, you can restrict the Titan's movement, or you can station these guys here, these unmovable gladiators who can be throwing spears or firing arrows. Finally then, let's have a look at the arena and compare it to Lost Cities. So this was the Fazuli Arena from Lost Cities. These were your champion deployment areas, these were pedestals, these were trapdoors where beasts and criminals would emerge. These were your crowd favour tracks, these were crowd favour stones where you could earn crowd favour. Let's compare this to the Colosseum. Now the crowd favours are here, down one end in this area here. You'll have just one crowd favour gladiator and your 4 footholds. And you'll be earning crowd favour by doing damage, and each damage will push you up. And you can choose which of these little tracks you can move up. So unlike this long progressive track that you had in Lost Cities, where you had to work your way up it, instead you've kind of got a little bit more flexibility and freedom as to which specials you're going to unlock. So on this one, for example, you will unlock your champion. Here may re-roll a basic attack die. Here's your crowd favour gladiator. With this one you can move a crowd foothold that's already on the arena, and this one you can unlock all the deployment hexes, because you're going to be deploying these are your deployment hexes. You've also got these ones in the centre. This is where the Titan's going to appear from. You can deploy to these and these, but you can't deploy to the ones at the opposite end of the arena, okay, these ones. The issues with these ones, and what makes these separate, is there's penalties for deploying here. If you deploy in any of these, then you can't use any of your abilities, first strike, initiative, for example. All you can do is move. If you deploy here, then the unit will take 1 damage at the start of its turn. So if you put a Pompey and Lazarus here, you won't be able to do anything till the start of his next turn, in which case he will take 1 damage, and then obviously he can move away if he wishes to. There's one unit that can get around that, that's the Tactician, because he's got initiative, and that is active in the middle one, not here, but what that means is you can deploy him here and he can move on the turn he comes into play, so you could then move him out. Because it's a good way of getting a unit into that middle spot. What's missing this time is those crowd favour stones. Instead we've got these 4 pedestals. These are areas that your champion or your gladiator, they can't move into, okay? They're immovable, but they play a function in the game. For example, when fighting Cronus, this will be a 5 health pillar with a foothold on top. When the pillar is damaged by your attacks, then the foothold is flipped, and this will become a unit that fights for Cronus. If you defeat the pillar, then you earn the shard. The unit's defeated, and only units holding a shard can actually do damage to Cronus. For Oceanus, these are 2 health pillars. This time, when the health is defeated, so you attack the pillar, you grab the shard, and this grants the unit that took the shard a blue die for their basic attack, but you can't attack Oceanus until you have at least 1 shard in your possession, and you can't defeat him, you can't remove the last health from Oceanus until you have all 4 shards from all 4 pillars. Menuetius is slightly different. Again, you have pillars of shards. This time it's 4 health, and similar to Oceanus, you can't take that last health from Menuetius until you've got all, I think it's 3 shards, but every time you hit a pillar, and you can't take a shard until you defeat the pillar, that health goes to Menuetius. So we start small, but you get stronger and stronger as you hit down these pillars. Finally is Thea. She has 3 health pedestals with a shard on top. Once the health is gone, the shard turns active and fills one of your deployment spots in your prep area. So active shards can hinder your ability to draw new chips. But for every shard in a player's area, that player can choose 1 die from Thea's next roll, and this is the reference cards that show you her rolls. and roll it before the player's turn, so they kind of get an idea of what she's doing. And of course, the more you've got, if you've got 4 shards, you can roll 4 of these dice. Like the others, you need at least 1 shard to be able to hit her, and all 4 to be able to take her down. So that's the units covered, Titans and all the parts of Rise of Rome. The individual gladiators are much the same. We've got lots of new abilities to introduce, but I'm going to do that when we start to look at gameplay. As you know, this is one of my favourite solitaire games, so I'm really looking forward to sharing this one with you. This has been a long-awaited and highly anticipated expansion for Hoplomachus. See you next time.